around through uncommon conversations. Politics, religion, finances, all the topics your grandmother told you not to discuss with friends. And now, your host, Matthew Dowling, and today's guests on Commonalities.
Well, good afternoon, or good morning, I guess I should say, to everyone. My guest today is someone that many of the WMBS listeners are familiar with, Kendall Sisler. You normally hear her in the afternoon on What's on Your Mind, but we have Kendall on with us today, and I'm going to preface the show by apologizing to the listeners if I sound a little hoarse or a little under the weather. I'm actually joining the team via telephone because just this morning I found out that I'm suffering from COVID, so you won't see me out in the public for the next 5 to 7 days or so. But we still wanted to be able to call in via telephone and do the show. So, Kendall, how are you today?
Good, thank you, Matt. I hope that you feel better. But I thought that you were going to preface it with something else.
Well, you know, I have to explain to everyone Kendall and I's friendship and relationship. We go back all the way to high school, and both of us were members of the morning announcement crew. So we got our airtime training in Pete Bozik's office many years ago, and we had a lot of fun with that. Isn't that right, Kendall?
Yeah, it was morning and afternoon announcements, if you recall. Me, you, and Dave. Shout out to Dave.
Yep, and unfortunately, Dave's not with us today, but I think we'll be able to handle this today. Now, the topic that we had said that we're going to discuss is kind of one that people are talking about a lot right now, because corporations are being forced to make calls and to get involved with policy items. And some people refer to this as corporate wokeness. And what I draw to mind is one of the items that just happened this week. M&M decided that they were going to permanently shelf their spokescandies, and they were no longer going to use those because they have become divisive, and people have started attributing different things to the characteristics of those spokescandies. So instead, they're opting to go with a human being as their spokesperson for a while. But we're seeing this in a lot of different corporate atmospheres, and you know, I kind of feel for the corporations themselves, because, you know, I don't know that it's always by choice that they get involved in these items. It's more by force, where individuals are saying, listen, if you don't weigh in on this, we're going to boycott your company and your product. And I think that puts them in a very difficult position. So, Kendall, I don't know if you had any thoughts on that. I know we discussed this a little bit before the show.
Yeah, and are we taking calls today, Matt?
Yeah, we'd be happy to take calls. So if you want to throw that number out there, I think that would be great as well.
Okay, that's 724-438-4593. Call in and weigh in only on the topics, or the topic rather that Matt has chosen for his show today. So I guess I've been wanting to talk to you about this since earlier in the week, whenever we decided that I was going to be your guest. Who are these quote unquote people that are, you know, putting the ideas into the head of, you know, corporate figureheads to come up with these decisions? Like, are they boards of directors? Are they letters from concerned consumers? Or where does this start from? And I feel like your experience in Harrisburg would maybe give me and the listeners a little more insight into where is this starting? Because, you know, fortunately for us, I think we live in a small town in southwestern Pennsylvania, where we've been really fortunate to not be too affected by the wokeness of the world at this point, in a good way, I think. You know, we all coexist peacefully, and we're respectful to one another, and we don't nitpick at little things that are so trivial. So where does this start?
You know, I think this is all kind of a movement that's coming from consumers and a thought that this social justice is extremely important. And I want to kind of put in there that these are important issues. Okay, so let's say that I'm a consumer that's extremely concerned with the way that with these candies, for example, are portrayed, and I am really concerned with rights for all people, regardless of sexual orientation. And that's really what it came down to with the M&Ms, is that certain of the M&M characters were kind of being portrayed as maybe being homosexual or so forth. So I'm concerned with equal rights for all people, regardless of sexual orientation. So I start a campaign, and we have things like change.org, where I can get other individuals to sign on, and we're now taking on M&M, and we're making this point. The issue that I have is, regardless of where you sit on this or other issues, we are really kind of making something that's trivial into a big item. So, when other things that could be more productive could take our time and focus. And that's what really bothers me about this. We're not going to win a social justice argument about equality for the LGBT community by taking on M&M. There's more that these people could be doing, but they kind of get pigeonholed into focusing just on this one microcosm of an issue, and they take that on by head.
And I guess for me, a lot of times my mind doesn't even shift to an issue until some kind of ridiculous marketing campaign is or advertising campaign is switched over to, we have to make this look more like that or make this less like that. I mean, they're M&Ms. I think that, and that's just a for example, right? But I to be honest, I have to say I'm kind of tired of hearing about it, because what do little chocolate characters on a package have anything to do with equal rights? Because I'm pretty sure we're at a place right now where there are equal rights. You can be a girl, then a boy, then back to a girl if you choose. You can dress like a boy if you're a girl. You can dress like a girl if you're a boy. You can be married to someone of the same sex. You can have children. You can raise a family. You can move up in the world of whatever your career is. You can run for office and win. I'm not seeing where there's a lack of equal rights at this point, and I'm happy to say that, but I just don't. And here's the thing for me. I would rather see there be a movement to getting these silly little characters off of the cereal boxes. I mean, other countries have done that, right? Because they don't want to appeal to little kids because there's nothing but high fructose corn syrup in there, and we know what that does to people. And so, why is the movement about something we've already accomplished and not towards something that we have a long way to go,
Yeah, and we're using the example of the M&Ms in the LGBT community, but there are so many other corporations that are kind of being held hostage at the same time. And before the show, I supplied Bill with an edited down clip that I believe was from Fox Business, that if he has ready, we could go ahead and play. And I think that will allow us to expand and add to our conversations a little bit.
Look, Ian, I want your reaction to Kroger and another grocery store chain, Harris Teeter. They're pulling their pro-American items from store shelves. What they're pulling includes, I think I can show them on your screen, the cozies featuring guns and American flags, and items that read, "Give me liberty" or "Give me death," on the screen right now. They pulled those items. What is going on here? You can't be pro-American in the supermarket?
No, you can't be pro-America, but you can be pro-Pride Month, right? So you go to any supermarket, you go to any store, you're going to see pride flags, pride paraphernalia. But when it comes to American paraphernalia, patriotism, American flags, statements from Patrick Henry, that's apparently, that's over the line, and stores can't do that. And, the saying, go woke, get broke. That's or get woke, go broke. That's what we're seeing here. I mean, we're seeing these big stores from corporate America that are injecting wokeness into everything they do. And ultimately they end up paying for it when, customers stop shopping there and stock prices start going down, just like this as Disney.
Well, do you think that you're winning this battle against CRT?
It's a long fight, and I think we're just at the start of it. And we've really, over the past year and a half have entered that fight, and parents have realized what's going on in schools. But this is not the kind of thing that's going to be solved in a year or 2 years. It's going to really take a generation to get our educational system back to the basics.
That sounds absolutely awful. Ian Pryor, you're doing good work there. Thanks very much for joining us today. Appreciate it, sir. Thank you very much. You got it.
So I think there was some good information there in that clip, if nothing else. But hearing a British man say the word koozies, I think that was entertaining. But we are seeing now where institutions or organizations like grocery stores are now removing American items from their shelves because they don't want to be seen as being pro-American or anti-Black Lives Matter, et cetera, like that. And so it puts these organizations in a really difficult position. Bill, Kendall, what are your thoughts?
And you're much more tapped into the political sphere on a much more official level. I just don't know where it's coming from, and that's my biggest question. Where is this starting from? And it has to be more than change.org, right? I mean, and then you have to wonder as well. I know that corporations, they have to generate revenue. They have certain things that they're held accountable for on their level. But aren't they concerned that there's a number, just as many people who will turn their backs on that corporation if they play into this fiasco, if you will?
Well, I think that's a real and serious issue that corporations face, and this is why I kind of feel for them, because there is a backlash that happens when they do go to the woke side. Or let's look at this not only for organizations that go with movements towards the left, but let's look at Chick-fil-A and Hobby Lobby, where your overhead music at Hobby Lobby is all Christian music. Chick-fil-A is not open on Sundays. And both of those organizations get pushed back from the left because of the stance that they take that's on the right. And you almost want to say, can't my chicken, fast food chicken place stay out of politics? But they do have, as a private organization, every right to make a statement if they so wish. But there is backlash that happens on both sides.
And I think the ultimate irony is that Harris Teeter is based out of North Carolina, where you just don't do these kind of things. If you want a majority of your clientele to go shop at Lowe's or at Piggly Wiggly. We have to take a quick break here, then we'll be back. This is Commonalities with Matt Dowling. Kendall Sisler is our guest on your local station, WMBS.
You're listening to Commonalities, where guests find common ground through uncommon conversations. We'll be back after this brief break to recognize our sponsors.
Hello, Uniontown. Mayor Bill Gerke here. There's nothing quite like the feeling of home, that sense of belonging, those fall Friday nights under the lights, those winter nights in the gym watching our Red Raiders, those refreshing spring afternoons at Bailey Park rooting on our Red Raider softball and baseball teams. I am grateful for those memories and hope our community's children and grandchildren can enjoy those memories too. But to do that, we have to plan for the future. During my first term in office, the city has got Bailey Park back to a place where we can be proud of. Began our city's first comprehensive plan in over 20 years. Started work on the city's section of the Sheepskin Trail. Worked on eliminating blighted properties and are rebuilding the city's neighborhoods. We've updated the faulty equipment in the parking garages, and we're bringing a more competitive, reliable, faster, and less expensive internet service to our city residents. We have done a lot, but there's still more to do. So I, Bill Gerke, am running for a second term. We're Uniontown proud, we're Uniontown strong, and together we can continue to rebuild Uniontown for the next generation.
Paid for by Mayor Bill Gerke.
When it comes to buying a home, what you see isn't exactly what you get. That's why home buyers should call Dave Dowling at Grandview Inspections at 724-208-4108. You'll see colorful flowers, freshly painted walls, granite countertops, gleaming hardwood floors, and other touches. What you can't see is the cracks, ancient plumbing, dangerous wiring, or broken appliances that might be revealed when you hire a home inspector. And when it comes to home inspectors, knowing yours has the qualifications and experience needed should be your number one concern. Dave Dowling with Grandview Inspections is an architectural engineer with over 30 years of commercial construction experience and hundreds of inspections under his belt. A home inspection is an opportunity for you to hire an expert to walk through the home and prepare a report outlining the home's major components, what needs immediate attention, and what will require maintenance after you move in. Your home is one of your biggest investments, so make sure your investment is everything you hoped it to be. Call Dave Dowling at Grandview Inspections at 724-208-4108.
Are you enjoying the program you're listening to? Support Commonalities and help keep us on the air by making a donation of $5, $10, or $25, or any amount you feel comfortable sharing online at donate.commonalities.online. Again, that is donate.commonalities.online on the World Wide Web. Buy our host a cup of coffee or help pay for airtime at donate.commonalities.online.
You're listening to Commonalities, where guests find common ground through uncommon conversations.
And this is Commonalities with Matt Dowling on your local station WMBS. The discussion now is corporate wokeness, with companies basically having woke policies, and are they doing themselves a favor or not? If you'd like to get in on the discussion, it's 724-438-4593. Now back to our host, Matt Dowling, and his guest, Kendall Sisler.
Oh, thank you for having me, Matt.
Hey, thank you guys, and thanks for staying with us through the commercial break. This is an important conversation, I think, because we are seeing how these policies ultimately are affecting the corporations, and then in turn, they affect employment for those who work for the corporations. Not necessarily because of wokeness or a cancel culture, but we saw Google this week lay off 25,000 employees. So we know that these large corporations at a whim can take a turn that can really hurt the job market. And that's something that I'm concerned with, and I think our viewers at home would be concerned with as well. We've been talking about M&M and their policy, but Disney decided to weigh in on the Florida Don't Say Gay bill that was being pushed by Governor Ron DeSantis. Obviously, a hard right individual who's looking to run potentially for president of the United States in the next campaign cycle. But Disney made some fatal flaws in weighing in on that bill because they were being hit from one side saying they didn't do it soon enough, and from the other side saying that they made changes at all based on that legislation. And Bob Chapek, who was the CEO and president of the Disney organization, ultimately lost his job, and a lot of people are attributing Mickey firing him to that decision that was made. So again, Kendall and Bill, you care to weigh in, and again, if you're at home, you can call us, and I'll get one of them to throw the number out if you want to join the conversation.
724-438-4593. I do have some things to say. Bill, do you have anything about this? For one, the Don't Say Gay bill, I'm not sure how it even got to be called that, because it doesn't say anywhere in the bill, don't say gay. It's simply not to teach, sexual orientation, discussion or instruction of sexual orientation in elementary schools. I mean, since when did we ever learn about that in the first place, whether I'm heterosexual or a homosexual?
I just, this is the same country where we are failing magnificently in math, in science, and things like that. And you develop good mathematicians in the first and second grade.
Yeah. And what does that have anything to do with the elementary school? I don't have children, God willing I do someday, but the last thing I care for them to learn in school is to be taught about sexual orientation or any discussion at all. And I think that there was an article that Matt had sent me. It says the bill's sponsors have empathetically stated the bill would not prohibit students from talking about their LGBTQ families or bar classroom discussion about LGBTQ history, including events like the 2016 deadly attack on the Pulse nightclub, a gay club in Orlando. Instead, they argued that the bill would bar the instruction of sexual gender and identity. And I say, good. I do. And listen, another thing, why does that opinion of mine that is shared by many others, why does that turn into anti-gay or anti-LGBTQ? Because couldn't be any further from that,
I think we can safely say nobody here really cares whether anybody is gay or not.
At all. Yeah.
Everyone, and I say this probably on all of my shows, that I've taken votes so people know how far right I am. But that's a topic that doesn't even bother me. I have friends that are gay. I communicate with people that are gay. I support their rights. My faith background wouldn't allow them to get married in my church, but I think as far as the government is concerned, if two individuals of the same orientation or the same sex want to get married, they should be able to in the eyes of the government. So as a far-right individual, this isn't even an issue for me. But I do have issue with the rights of parents being taken away and for this to be educated within our classrooms. And I also look at it from the perspective of that teacher. Now, let's be honest, we have some far-left teachers that are there, but Kendall, we went to school together for many years. Most of our teachers didn't want to project their political affiliation or thoughts on any of us. That teacher that's being mandated to talk about sexual orientation, does they really even want to be part of that discussion?
Well, and let me ask you this. I agree. And I highly doubt it. However, how much of this topic, because for me and many others, and I talk to a lot of people being with what I do for a living, and so how much of this is being perpetuated by the media? Like, how much of this is actually an issue when it really comes to schools and what kind of education they're being provided as far as discussions of sexual orientation or not? I mean, is that really as big of a thing, or is it because Fox News wants to perpetuate it that they want to, or CNN wants to say it that they don't? Beyond that, is it a true issue? I know your constituency was probably not as hyped up about that topic, maybe with concerns that it would become a topic, but just talking to other representatives and even other areas or paying attention, which you probably do more than I do on a national level, do you really think it's that big of an issue? Or do you think it just makes a headline really good and it's an easy share?
Well, I have to jump back a couple episodes to this program where we had John Steigerwalt on, and many people in the Pittsburgh region know John and his brother for being, epic sportscasters over the years. But John now has a conservative talk radio show, and he was a guest on my program. And he talked a little bit about the sweeps that the media goes through and the fact that they are being forced for ratings. And John was sympathizing for the young guys and gals that are in the media now who really want to do good investigative reporting and be good journalists, but they are being forced to go out and get the ratings. Now, this, doesn't have to do with wokeness or with a political agenda, but think about the days when we have bad weather and they have 5 different journalists on the same news program, all reporting on the weather from a gas station, at all points of the Pittsburgh region. These people in the media are being forced to just report what they know will get ratings, and blood, guts, gore, and in bad weather bring in the ratings. But also, when they can kind of stoke the fire to be able to cause controversy, that brings in ratings too. And so I just go back to that conversation with Steigerwald, where these young journalists don't want to do it, but the owners of these broadcasting networks and newspapers are forcing them to go that direction because they need the ratings, and they need the ratings so that they can get the sponsorship and they can bring in the dollars.
Yeah, and there's an old saying in the newsrooms: if it bleeds, it leads.
You would know, Bill.
And with that, we have a caller waiting on the line. We'll get to you right after we take this break on Commonalities on your local station, WMB.
You're listening to Commonalities, where guests find common ground through uncommon conversations. We'll be back after this brief break to recognize our sponsors.
Hello, Uniontown. Mayor Bill Gerke here. There's nothing quite like the feeling of home, that sense of belonging, those fall Friday nights under the lights, those winter nights in the gym watching our Red Raiders, those refreshing spring afternoons at Bailey Park rooting on our Red Raider softball and baseball teams. I am grateful for those memories and hope our community's children and grandchildren can enjoy those memories too. But to do that, we have to plan for the future. During my first term in office, the city has got Bailey Park back to a place where we can be proud of. Begun our city's first comprehensive plan in over 20 years. Started work on the city's section of the Sheepskin Trail. Worked on eliminating blighted properties and are rebuilding the city's neighborhoods. We've updated the faulty equipment in the parking garages, and we're bringing a more competitive, reliable, faster, and less expensive internet service to our city residents. We have done a lot, but there's still more to do. So I, Bill Gerke, am running for a second term. We're Uniontown proud, we're Uniontown strong, and together we can continue to rebuild Uniontown for the next generation.
Paid for by Mayor Bill Gerke.
Is your business using analog strategies in a digital marketing world? If so, then contact Matthew or Rebecca Dowling at Coordinated 360 for a professional consultation, where we bring in-depth knowledge and functional expertise with a holistic perspective. Coordinated 360 provides digital marketing, paid ad and media buying services, web design, social media management, video production, and more for businesses, organizations, and political campaigns. With decades of experience, Matt and Becky at Coordinated 360 can help you craft your unique message and share it with the world. For a no-risk media evaluation and recommendations, call 724-320-2212 or visit us online at www.coordinated360.com. Find us also on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, or email info@coordinated360.com.
When it comes to buying a home, what you see isn't exactly what you get. That's why home buyers should call Dave Dowling at Grandview Inspections at 724-208-4108. You'll see colorful flowers, freshly painted walls, granite countertops, gleaming hardwood floors, and other touches. What you can't see is the cracks, ancient plumbing, dangerous wiring, or broken appliances that might be revealed when you hire a home inspector. And when it comes to home inspectors, knowing yours has the qualifications and experience needed should be your number one concern. Dave Dowling with Grandview Inspections is an architectural engineer with over 30 years of commercial construction experience and hundreds of inspections under his belt. A home inspection is an opportunity for you to hire an expert to walk through the home and prepare a report outlining the home's major components, what needs immediate attention, and what will require maintenance after you move in. Your home is one of your biggest investments, so make sure your investment is everything you hoped it to be. Call Dave Dowling at Grandview Inspections at 724-208-4108.
You're listening to Commonalities, where guests find common ground through uncommon conversations.
Commonalities with Matt Dowling, and Matt, we are going to go to the phones and say hi. You are on Commonalities. Who are we speaking with?
Well, maybe I can throw a little light on this and answer a question posed by Kendall. She was asking where all this comes from. If you trace back the story of American brands, Reuters, which is a British news service similar to our Associated Press, did a survey. This was a few months ago, and I called in Russ and told him about it. Did a survey of Southern grocery stores and found 3 brands that were politically incorrect, notably Dixie Beer. And those brands were all hounded off the shelves. Dixie Beer, of course, makes us all think we're slave owners if you drink that. So Reuters is one of those news services, and this is what's interesting. Reuters is a news service. They generally report news. They don't go out and do investigative reporting. So a lot of it's coming from this British news service, which used to be very objective. Now look at Kroger's chief director, chief owner, Warren Buffett, the so-called Oracle of Omaha. He's a brilliant financier. Warren Buffett, a former owner of the Washington Post. I'll let you guess his politics. This is how this stuff goes on. Certain people who own companies, news services, newspapers, are proactive. Jeff Bezos now is an owner of the Washington Post. Take a look at their politics. Take a look at what we're being told by those papers. It's very simple. If you look at the people behind this, Bill Gates as well is very proactive. So that's where this is coming from, Kendall, to answer your question. Does that help a little?
Yes, thank you, Frank.
Thank you, Frank. Thank you for the call. And I'm sure we'll be talking with you again, who knows, maybe later this afternoon.
You never know, do you?
Thank you, Frank.
Thank you, Frank. So this is Commonalities with Matt Dowling, 724-438-4593. And also, are they playing a game of gotcha here too? For instance, the whole thing about the Don't Say Gay bill, was that more to maybe throw a few arrows into Ron DeSantis than maybe really concerned about the Don't Say Gay bill? So
yeah. And it goes to the we all say, we think it's people in Washington that are running the show. It's not. They're puppets too, right? And Matt, you can speak to the fact that you were in office, and while you can say all you want that you go to Harrisburg and you vote exactly what you believe in and what your constituents want, you also know that you want to get reelected, right? So there's certain times and certain groups of people that you have to work for, quote unquote. And sometimes that might not align with your personal beliefs, but you're not in there for your personal beliefs. You're there to represent the people. And so it's no different. I mean, it's no different on a local level, right? I mean, we know there's certain people in this town that run the show, or, you can make a call to this person and get that changed, and it just trickles up and, or down, either way. What are your thoughts on that, Matt? When it comes to just the politics, corporate controlling the politics as well.
I think that it puts people that are in politics into a difficult position, because you're completely right. You're always looking at re-election, and we could have a different conversation at another time about term limits and about the length of time in office. I was serving a 2-year term, so every other year I was constantly running for re-election. And that becomes bothersome. But even when you're looking at this from a corporation's point of view, their goal is to make money. So they're hedging a bet on, do I get more points for weighing in on this, not weighing in on this? Should I be on the left or the right of this issue? Who are my consumers, and how am I pleasing them? So it puts them in a very bad position as well. And it's even worse with the corporation, because as an individual, Matt Dowling elected to office, I know right from wrong, and I'm going to make a decision based on that. Yeah, sometimes my decision-making skills are tainted by what my constituency wants, but a corporation doesn't have the mindset to say this is right or wrong. Their only mindset is, does this make me money or lose me money?
That being said, if Chick-fil-A was open on Sundays, think how much extra money they would make. So you also do sometimes stand up. But to your point, Matt, if a gay couple comes to you as the state representative and says, we're having a trouble with the state licensing board, we want to open a hardware store and we can't get things moving, then you don't care whether they're a gay couple. You care that they're a business trying to get something accomplished.
Sure.
And that's totally different, right? Like, those are the kind of people I want to represent, or those are the people I want to fight for, people that have the same rights as every other American, regardless of their sexual orientation. But that's far different than hurting someone's feelings because an M&M character doesn't look gay enough, looks too gay, looks too much who cares?
Actually wears go-go boots. That's what the objection was.
That they were or weren't?
They were wearing go-go boots, and they put them in sneakers. Anyway,
That's
we're
insulting.
We're going to take our final break and then wrap things up with Commonalities with Matt Dowling.
You're listening to Commonalities, where guests find common ground through uncommon conversations. We'll be back after this brief break to recognize our sponsors.
Hello, Uniontown. Mayor Bill Gerke here. There's nothing quite like the feeling of home, that sense of belonging, those fall Friday nights under the lights, those winter nights in the gym watching our Red Raiders, those refreshing spring afternoons at Bailey Park rooting on our Red Raider softball and baseball teams. I am grateful for those memories and hope our community's children and grandchildren can enjoy those memories too. But to do that, we have to plan for the future. During my first term in office, the city has got Bailey Park back to a place where we can be proud of. Begun our city's first comprehensive plan in over 20 years. Started work on the city's section of the Sheepskin Trail. Worked on eliminating blighted properties and are rebuilding the city's neighborhoods. We've updated the faulty equipment in the parking garages, and we're bringing a more competitive, reliable, faster, and less expensive internet service to our city residents. We have done a lot, but there's still more to do. So I, Bill Gerke, am running for a second term. We're Uniontown proud, we're Uniontown strong, and together we can continue to rebuild Uniontown for the next generation.
Paid for by Mayor Bill Gerke.
Are you enjoying the program you're listening to? Support Commonalities and help keep us on the air by making a donation of $5, $10, or $25, or any amount you feel comfortable sharing online at donate.commonalities.online. Again, that is donate.commonalities.online on the World Wide Web. Buy our host a cup of coffee or help pay for airtime at donate.commonalities.online.
Is your business using analog strategies in a digital marketing world? If so, then contact Matthew or Rebecca Dowling at Coordinated 360 for a professional consultation, where we bring in-depth knowledge and functional expertise with a holistic perspective. Coordinated 360 provides digital marketing, paid ad and media buying services, web design, social media management, video production, and more for businesses, organizations, and political campaigns. With decades of experience, Matt and Becky at Coordinated 360 can help you craft your unique message and share it with the world. For a no-risk media evaluation and recommendations, call 724-320-2212 or visit us online at www.coordinated360.com. Find us also on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, or email info@coordinated360.com.
You're listening to Commonalities, where guests find common ground through uncommon conversations.
This is Commonalities with Matt Dowling. The guest is Kendall Sisler, and we'll get to final thoughts as we have about 2 minutes left.
Yeah, so I'm not used to being a guest, but I told Matt earlier I was nervous, and I told Bill as well. But Matt, I really appreciate you having me on. I think this is it is not to plug, but a hot topic, and I think that like I said to you, I'd said to Bill off the air, and I text you, I think we should do an interview on our show with you, because I do wonder, and don't answer now, but would this be a conversation you would be having publicly if you were still in office or running for office, and how does that change once you're post service in office and you're able to just be a part of the people like we are all the time, and to have more open conversations about things that are, they are hot button issues.
Sure. Well, I think that's a great final thought, and something that we could do on another day on your program. When you're in office, you are your tongue is held a little bit because you have to be careful what you say, and that's why I'm enjoying this show so much now in my post legislative service days, because I can be open and more free with my thoughts and opinions. But ultimately, through the show Commonalities, I want to bring all of that transparency to light with our current elected officials as well. And, we go in and we vote for these people. We should know what their thoughts and opinions are. It's a glossy mail piece that you get in the mail with a beautiful wife and a dog and 2.5 kids doesn't really tell you what that person thinks or believes. And with that, Matt, we've got to wrap it up. We'll see you again on Tuesday.
Thank you, Matt.
This has been Commonalities, a show where guests find common ground through uncommon conversations. Copyright 2022 Coordinated 360. All public rebroadcasts should be done with prior written approval from Matthew Dowling. All requests should be sent to info@coordinated360.com. Thank you for listening to Commonalities.